Good morning. Well, Eli, good morning. I noticed that your
Yeah,
time. Where are
yeah.
you?
I have an early appointment in Manhattan, so I needed to come here last night.
Okay, so very nice. So you're taking a walk now, or you're just on the way to shul on the way out?
Yeah, I just left the shul.
Okay.
Yeah, I prayed. They have a 6:30 minyan. I just prayed it.
Raymond Bader said in the annex minyan, he said, people ask me to say Hallel. We can't. But maybe we should say Hagomer. And Trump. I will continue.
I just think that's funny. This is all Hashem's plan, but I wish you'd give us tell us what He has in mind a little bit.
Eli, unfortunately, in a few months, we'll have the full picture. Let's see. Come. So, Chaval, Eli, you don't have the Gemara, but we started yesterday with the Gemara and Daf Chavtet. Yesterday, we went through the Pesukim and we saw that only in Parashat Vayera it says, Vayamar Avraham et Yitzchak beno, asher tziva oto. So the Gemara learns out, Vayamar Avraham, the father is the first one. Then when we looked at this week's parasha, it says, Himol lachem kol zachar. The Gemara learns out, it's an obligation of the community. Then, Ve'arel zachar asher lo yimol, the third pasuk, B'nichrata. This pasuk is teaching us that when the kid gets mitzvah, the chiyuv is on him. So look at listen to an interesting Tosfot. We did it already in the past. Look a second in Daf Chavtet. The Gemara learns out how do we know that the mother is not commanded to do a Brit Milah? דכתיב כאשר ציווה אותו אלוקים, אותו, good morning, Larry, we are looking in Kiddushin, page 29a.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm following. I got it.
Look at the first white line, 29a. How do we know that she, the mother, is not commanded? דכתיב וערל זכר I'm sorry, היא מנהלה דלא מחייבה דכתיב כאשר ציווה אותו אלוקים, אותו ולא אותה. אותו, the father, Abraham, ולא אותה, the mother. You realize the Gemara is not telling us that as a mother she is not chayav. We'll see in a minute. We'll talk in a minute about it. Ashkechan miyad לדורות מן הלאה. Listen to an interesting question. Avraham Avinu was before Matan Torah, correct? So Hashem is telling Avraham, you have to do it. Avraham כאשר ציווה אותו אלוקים. לדורות מן הלאה. How do we know that me and you have the same obligations? So of course the Gemara is not asking how do we know that you have to go forward Brit Milah after Abraham, because you have a pasuk in Parashat Metzorah, yes? אישה כי תזריע וילדה זכר וביום השמיני ימול בשר עולתו. The question is, how do we know that?
Rabbi, also on this week's parasha it says it.
Right, but this is the point. The point is this Parashat Lech Lecha and Parashat Vayera is before Matan Torah. So all the details of the mitzvah we are learning from this week's parasha. The question is, how do we know after the Torah was given that we have the same obligation, which means the father is first, and etc. The Gemara says, Tana deber Rabbi Yishmael, we're in Kiddushin Daf Chavtet, Tana deber Rabbi Yishmael, kol makom shene'emar tzav, אינו אלא זירוז מיד ולדורות. יודעים? ויאמר אברהם את יצחק בנו כאשר ציווה אותו אלוקים. the word tziva. The reason why the Torah is using the word tzivui, לא כאשר אמר לו, כאשר ציווה מיד ולדורות. So what we, says the Pnei Yoshua, we learn from it, even in our generation, after the Torah was given, the mitzvah is there the same way we learned from Abraham, but we need a pasuk to tell me that all these details and priorities in the mitzvah apply to him. Now listen to a very famous Tosfot. Yes,
I'm sorry. Don't we learn that it was Abraham is before Matan Torah? So do we learn things before Matan Torah or after Matan Torah?
So this, if you read the Gemara simply, the Gemara's question was, how do we know that we have to do a Brit Milah after Matan Torah? This cannot be what the Gemara means. Why? Because we have a pasuk in Parashat Tazria, Ubayom HaShemini Yimol B'Sar Olato. So the Gemara's question was, how do we know that after Matan Torah, the same order that we just learned, first the father, if not the father, the Beit Din, if not the Beit Din himself. All this is written before the Torah was given. The answer is because the Torah is using the language kasher tziva, the phrase tziva means now and for generations to come. Look now in the Tosfot, Oto velo ota. Tosfot. Page 29a. Oto velo ota. The pasuk is teaching us that the mother is not obligated. Listen carefully to Tosfot. Page 29a. Ve'im tomar. Listen carefully now to the question. Lama likera, why do I need a pasuk that the mother is exempt? Typically, you can learn it out. The mitzvah aseh, שהזמן גרמאי, שהנימול בשמיני ללידתו, ונשים פטורות. You hear the question? We have a general rule that every mitzvah that has to do with a specific time, a woman is patur. When is the brit? On the 8th day. So it's a mitzvah that has to do with a specific time, yes? So why do I need a special pasuk to tell me that the mother is exempt? Obviously. Listen carefully.
Because you're obligated once 8th day comes, you're obligated to
very good,
continue
very
doing
good. So David Anter says, the mitzvah begins on the 8th day, but from the 8th day and on, the mitzvah goes forever. Very good, David. This is what Tosafot answer. ויש לומר, כיוון דמיום השמיני והלאה, from the 8th day and on, אין לה הפסק, לאו זמן גרמה. Good?
What about at night, though?
Good. So Eli is asking now, but at night, you cannot do the milah. Very good. So this is the next question of Torah. But before we go there, let me tell you the interesting question that Miluch is asking. Listen good. The father becomes obligated on the 8th day, correct? When it's 13, the baby reaches 13 and the milah was not performed, we learned in the Gemara that the child is obligated. Is the father out of the picture now? You had a chance for 13 years. You didn't do it. Now we're taking it away from you. We put it to your child, or in addition to the father's obligation, we are telling the kid, you are obligated. This is a famous question of the Milchat Chinuch. Says the Milchat Chinuch, listen to something interesting. What is the answer of Tosafot? Before Eli's question, let's assume Eli now that Brit Milah can be performed day and night, which is not so. Let's assume. So Tosafot's question was, it's a Zman Gerama. Why? Because the mitzvah begins on the 8th day, and the answer is no. From the 8th day and on, the mitzvah never stops. So it's Zman Gerama. Says the Milchat Chinuch.
If the time never ends, then the sun's going to be done
Right,
anytime.
right,
every
this is
day.
what Tosafot emphasizes. Says the Milchat Chinuch, that if at the age of 13, the mitzvah stops from the father and goes to the child, it's still Zman Grama. Zman Grama means any mitzvah that has to do with a specific time. Tosafot is saying, Brit Milah is not specific, it begins at a certain time, which is the 8th day. From then on, never stops. If at the age of 13, the Torah says, Father, you're out, now your son takes over, the mitzvah does stop. Because the obligation of the father
Finishes.
is finished. This is the proof he wants to bring that the father is still commanded. He's just saying, in addition to you, now the son is. Okay, but for the sake of argument, listen carefully. This is a very interesting question. For the sake of argument, listen good. The mitzvah really never stops. Who is in charge of fulfilling the mitzvah stops. Maybe this is not Zman Gerama. See, what does the Milchat Chinuch say? If the father's obligation stops at 13 and it's being transferred to the child, yes, makes it Zman Gerama. No. Zman Gerama means that the mitzvah completely stops. At 13, the mitzvah goes on. Who is in charge of fulfilling the mitzvah switches from the father to the child. Who says that this is Zman Gerama?
If you had a boy that was 10 years old and his father didn't give him a milah, he could go and say to someone, to the mohel, give me a milah, right?
David says a kid at 10, he knows that his father never circumcised him. He should go at 10. He should not go at 10. He should go at 13. Because
He's not.
you are right, David, that when he's
Maybe he
13,
doesn't want to wait until he's
when
30.
he's 13, he's commended. But if he does it before, he's helping his father. You realize? He's helping his father.
Right.
Not only that, if this kid is a child of a Kohen, an Arel, man who is not circumcised, cannot have teruma. If the kid wants teruma, of course he will go. In your case, the community also has an obligation to make sure. But does the kid have his own obligation? The Gemara says 13. Of course, he should do it anyway because he has to be in a state of Brit Milah.
But what happens if there's no father and there's no community?
Correct. So he's asking now, should the kid on his own go or not?
No, should the mother do it?
In a minute, good.
Because otherwise the story of Sipporah makes no sense.
Good question. So comes the Sefer HaMakneh, is one of the great commentators in this Gemara. Listen good what he says. He says the mother is not obligated as a mother.
But she still
She's
could do it.
obligated as a member of the community. You know what he says? He says, of course, in the case the law is given. He says, there's no father, there's no community, but there's a mother. Says the Sefer HaMakneh, she is part of the community. So she is exempt only from a personal obligation as a mother, but not as
Not as part of the community.
It's a beautiful shot.
Yeah, it is.
And he says that this is why perhaps we need a pasuk or two below Ota, because otherwise we would have thought that she is commended. You look at the Tosfot here. There you go. This morning after the minyan upstairs, Raymond Beda says, people ask me to say Hallel today. He says, Hallel, I don't know.
Yeah.
And he says, the Ishem. And he says, Hagomer, we can certainly say.
Sure. Hashem.
Yes, but as Eli said before, you have to wait a while to see if
What
this
damage
Hagomer.
they do?
Let's go back to Tosfot. Eli's question. Listen carefully, Eli. Im Tomar, Akate מצוות עשה שהזמן גרמה הוא, ואין מלין אלא ביום. Brit Milah has to be performed during the day. So why do I need a pasuk that the mother is exempt? Why? because the pasuk oto velo ota, it says man gerama. Every night the mitzvah cannot be performed. Yes, the mitzvah cannot be performed. Kushia chazaka mod, if you think about it. Yes. Listen carefully to the answer of Tosfot. V'yesh lomar, the Atya, our Gemara, that means a special pasuk for the mother, goes, Kamanda amar atam de milah shelo bezmana noheget ben bayom ben balayla. You know this? There is an opinion in the Gemara in Yevamot that a regular Brit Milah, let's say if today is the 8th day, right, the Milah cannot be done last night. But if the Milah was postponed, anyway, you are circumcising, not on the 8th day.
But delayed, so to speak, not purposely, but
Correct.
just
Delayed.
after the time went over.
It makes a difference.
Oh.
As long as the Milah is a delayed Milah, there is one opinion that says you can do it at night also. Only here it is, תשמע, וביום השמיני ימור את בשר עולת, וביום ולא בלילה, וביום השמיני, on the 8th day, ביום ולא בלילה. But if it's not the 8th day, so according to this opinion, I need a pasuk that a woman is patur because it's not zman gerama.
So now you have at nighttime. and you
Correct,
don't have-
correct. So I would think she should be chayav or tov velot.
Rabbi, is Zangarama only to do with the hour of the day? What is it? Because it's the 8th day, not the 9th day,
Right,
7th
right.
day. It's not also
Right.
Garama as well?
Correct, correct. Every time the mitzvah stops and mitzvah cannot perform, makes it zman gerama. Listen carefully now. Okay, so this is Tosfot. Why do I need a pasuk that the woman is patur? According to this opinion, that the milah is an ongoing 24/7 after the 8th day, I need a pasuk. Listen to this, listen carefully now. Few more answers to the question, and each answer goes into the concept of Zman Gerama. Comes the Ritba and says as follows. Please listen to it. Sukkah is a mitzvah on me and you. If a woman would be chayav, it's her mitzvah. She has to sit in the sukkah, right? She is exempt. It's a zman gerama, correct? Shofar. Me and you are obligated on the first day of the month, Chodesh Tishrei, to listen to the voice. She is not because the mitzvah. Okay. Says the Ritba, but here the mitzvah is on her to do it to someone. Here it is. Here, if she would be, I'm the father, I was obligated, right, to either circumcise or make sure that I'm finding a moed. If the woman would be chayav, it's not a mitzvah that is done by her. She is in charge of other people. Says the concept of Zman Gerama, says the Ritba, it's a beautiful svara. Here it is.
Since she doesn't have to
Zman
do it
Gerama
herself.
is when I have to shake lulav, she is not. This is Zman Gerama. I have to listen to shofar, she is not. Here, it's something she has to do to others. I mean, if you want really to hear it better, the mitzvah is on the father to make sure that the baby is circumcised. Yesterday we said the language of the Mishnah is kol mitzvot haben alav. מה זה כל מצוות הבן עליו? שיוצא כל מצוות האב על הבן. ברית מילה is the father. No, the ברית מילה is a mitzvah on the baby. The baby has to be circumcised. Who is in charge of making sure? The father, community, and he himself.
Wait a second, isn't the mitzvah of the isn't the mitzvah for the father to do the milah? We have a way that he gets around it by appointing a shaliach, but he has a mitzvah to do the milah, perform it.
Right. Listen carefully to the definition here that we just said. Emet.
Rabbi, I forgot, but doesn't the older brother fall in?
What?
Doesn't the older brother fall into this picture of having a chiyuv? The father's not around, and we have an older brother.
Brother falls in only yes, by mitzvah yibum. If Bar Minan, a person died without children, and there are 3 brothers, and each one of them is willing to marry the widow, the older brother is preferred. Otherwise, the older brother doesn't have any obligation. Or in your family, you had the mitzvah when your parents Aleichem Shalom were alive, and there is a mitzvah to honor the older brother. So Mel has an older brother, right? But this is your mitzvah.
Bad.
Your parents, by showing respect to their firstborn child.
Oh.
Otherwise, an older brother doesn't any.
Right, we're not looking at the mother, since she can't have the milah, she can't perform a milah.
Now, David is asking another interesting question. If a woman
She's not, yeah.
cannot perform a milah, maybe she is not chayav. So David is right. I mean, right or in a minute. No,
It's a good point.
Again,
Well,
if
suppose, Rabbi,
let me just finish because it has to do with Eli's question too. Eli, if the mitzvah is to circumcise, or the mitzvah is to make sure that he is circumcised, preferred by me. So first look at the Shulchan Aruch. We have a Shulchan Aruch here. Open this. Siman Reish Amakbar. Open your
What the task at hand, is it to do it or to get it done?
right.
Rabbi Prague,
Yes, look at Siman Reish Amakbar. 266. You read
what if, Rabbi Prague,
I'm listening.
I'm sorry, what if the father is a Bur Am Haaretz and he doesn't know how to read or he doesn't know anything and he can't teach his son Torah? Does the mother mechuyevet to teach her son?
Oh, the Shalai Afamo, Yofi.
Because it's the same paradigm.
Yeah,
She's not mechuyevet, or she can't teach him. Does she have to hire a
I'm going to answer it in a minute because it's on the same page of the Gemara. In a minute, okay? In a minute. I'm going to see it in a minute.
I remember we had this class, Rabbi, and you overlapped it with Pidyon.
It's 264. Yeah, what do you say, Mel? What do you remember?
I remember we had this class and you overlapped the chiyuv with Pidyon. Pidyon had certain things which required the Beit Din or the elders of the community, or vice versa. I don't remember.
Said that unlike by Brit Milah, there are three people in the picture: the father, the community, and the baby himself. By Pidyon Ben, we skip the community. If the father is not around or is not doing it, the mitzvah jumps to the child. 264, Reish Samach Dalet. Give You're right there.
Rabbi Prague, what's the downside of not being nifta? If I'm a Bechor and I wasn't,
That's a good question.
I mean, big deal. I'm a Pesach. I understand the phenomenal, but hypothetically, so what? I'm not Padui.
All right. He's asking, are there any consequences?
Consequences.
Any halachic consequences? If a person didn't have a breed, he cannot eat Korban Pesach. If a person didn't have a breed, he cannot eat Terumah. By Pidyon Ben, it's not so. By Pidyon Ben, there are no consequences. Unfortunately,
Can you do Kohanim, Rabbi? Can I do Kohanim?
Pidyon was not performed. In a minute, we'll see inside. And when he reaches 13,
Yes.
we should do it. But there are no consequences on the child. Understand?
On the person, it's not a child. He could be 50 and there's no consequence.
No. And the obligation remains on him till the day he finishes his life. But as you mentioned yesterday, who in the world is going to know it, yes?
Correct. Also, listen, if it's a Bechor of a Chamor, you have to cut his head off, but no one's cutting children's heads. No, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
What other examples? What other examples do we have?
Can he do, Larry, can they do Kohanim? I didn't get the answer from the Rabbi. I forget, it's a Kohen. He doesn't have a Brit Milah. Can he do Kohanim?
If he's a son of a Kohen, Mel, he's not chayav Pidyon Ben.
No, Mel's asking for a Brit Milah, I think.
Brit Milah, Rabbi.
He didn't do Brit Milah, he can't do anything, Mal.
I don't know. According to Larry, maybe he can.
He's out from the community.
Just a minute. Yes.
It's not that. It never was.
Look at 264. יורד עד 264. Hey, הכל כשרים למול. Everyone can perform ברית מילה, don't ask anything until you hear it to the end. אפילו עבד, מי זה הכל? Everyone. A slave, a non-Jewish slave of a Jewish man, because he's obligated like a woman to fulfill mitzvot, ve'isha. If you are stranded and the only one that can do it is a woman, a female doctor, she can do it. Ve'katan, even if the moel is before bar mitzvah. Ve'arel Israel, shemetu echa machmat milah. What happens if the moel happens to be, unfortunately, a person that his brothers died when they had a brit milah, and therefore brit milah was not performed to him? So you might say he doesn't have a brit. How can he circumcise? You can do it. So again, a slave of a Jewish fellow, a woman, a child, and even Arel. Im Yesham says Shulchan Aruch. Israel Gadol, שיודע למות. If you have a Jewish man, an adult that knows how to do it, who קודם לכולם. He is first. Now I'm skipping the Rama a minute. אבל עובד כוכבים, but a Gentile, אפילו הוא מהול. Even if he's an American doctor, not Jewish, but he happens to be, he was circumcised, as many babies, cannot perform a Brit Milah. ואימר, if he did, the goy, אין צריך לחזור ולמול פעם אחרת, פעם שנית, why? But the baby doesn't have anymore, עורלה, yes. Now, comes the Rama, ויש אומרים,
why didn't you skip the other Ramah? That's fat. The other Ramah is fascinating too.
I wanted to finish the Mechaber. Now I'm coming back to the Rama. ויש אומרים, לאישה לא תמול, וכן נוהגים. According to the Rama, a woman should not do it. And the obvious question now is, you read Sefer Shmot, Moshe Rabbeinu is going to Egypt, and ותיקח ציפורה צור, but of course.
Yeah, but that's there. They don't have anybody else. But here he's saying an Isha shouldn't do it. But if there's an Isha, an Eved, or Katan, or a Rael, why did he exclude the Isha? So he's teaching us something that an Arel and an Eved and an Katan come before a Katan, before a woman.
And the reason is because they are male. Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to find. Okay, interesting.
The Gemara in Avodah Zarah is saying whoever is commended to have a Brit Milah can perform it to others. So let's go.
Okay.
This is
Rabbi, why can't I use the Goy doctor? I'm in Timbuktu, and I'm the father. I have zero ability to do a milah. I get the professional surgeon. He does it correctly according to halakha. I'm standing right next to him, and then whatever you want to call it, I touch
your hands as a Kohen to give the bracha, but it's like a monkey. Would you do it to a monkey?
Yeah, but he's my tool. He's my tool.
The perfect milah better than the monkey.
The Goy cannot be my tool.
Aral learns out. Here, listen again. Hashem says to Abraham, Himol, a double language. Says the Gemara, whoever is commended to have his own brit can do it to others. Since the Goy is not commended to do it for himself, he cannot do it for others. So the obvious.
Even though I'm there, I'm standing there, and even though I'm standing there with him.
The Moel does it not kosher, bet yourself better than the current Moel. It's a monkey doing it. It's pasul. It's nothing. It's not doing anything.
You got it, Mal. No monkeys, Mal.
No, maybe I make a little bit.
No monkeys, Mal.
I got it. I just.
Now, Rani is asking an interesting question. Rani is asking, let's assume you have an Arab Muslim that we know happens to be the Bnei Keturah. Bnei Keturah are children that Avraham Avinu had after he married Hagar. Yes? the Rambam says that Bnei Keturah are commanded to have a Brit Milah. So he's asking now a good question. Can a Goy, a Muslim only that we know is a descendant of Keturah? The real answer is no, but I'll tell you why. The
That's
Rambam,
not right. You can say that about everyone then.
no,
We don't
no,
know
no,
they-
listen.
Every Muslim.
No, the answer is, how do we know
Not-
that he's
not
a
all
Muslim?
Muslims.
Of
Pakistanis
course not.
Pakistanis are not Ishmaelites.
No, but they could all say they're part of Ishmael, which is
Yeah,
part
they
of
could all say,
Keturah.
they could all say Ishmael.
Islam is Judaism is a religion.
Yeah, yeah.
Not everyone that is a descendant
Same
of
rules.
Abraham is Jewish. Any Japanese that took upon himself Torah mitzvot is a Jew like me and you. It's the Torah that you take upon yourself. If you happen to be born, then either you are privileged or not, depends how you look at it, then you are automatically a Jew. But every non-Jew that takes upon himself the mitzvot is a Jew like me and you, can do the Brit Milah.
But the
Now
Muslim.
here's the answer. Listen good. The Rambam only is the one that says that the descendants of Bnei Keturah, remember again,
Yeah,
Abraham,
only
it
those
says a
that-
pasuk in Chumash, Vayosef Abraham vayikach isha ushma Keturah, and she gives birth to 5 children or 6, listed in the Chumash.
Right.
Rashi in Gemara says, only those children are chayav,
Oh, not the
not the
descendants?
descendants.
Oh,
Rambam's opinion is that they're descendants of Bnei Keturah. So Radi's question is according to, so in
they would not be-
reality, right. But if, let's assume in that generation, yes,
Oh, because it's an issue of Ben and Zerah. That's why.
Well,
That's-
it says that Zaracha in the this week.
yeah,
uh,
but by
But it's
Ishmaelim,
only
I'm talking-
it's only applying to Yitzchak.
no,
No,
that's why
why.
I'm saying the Ishmaelim are not good. I agree with you, Ike.
Yeah.
okay, but he's asking, now the question now is.
Rabbi, can I push the coin a little further? I have a machine.
No,
I have a machine, hypothetically, that I press the button like matzah. I press the button lishma, a machine, and the machine's able to do the Brit Milah, hypothetically.
Products.
Mal, you still on this thing? The Hashem commanded the machine.
Let's take it a step back. Can a doctor, a Jewish doctor, let's assume, can he use a laser to do it?
Oh, not a
Wow.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
boy.
The answer is yes. Why? It doesn't say anywhere.
Doesn't- why
It
not?
doesn't
Just
say
have to cut
anywhere
and
that you
remove.
have to do it with a knife. The mitzvah is to remove besar olato and then to do a priya. Remember, anyway, the laser or the machine or the sakin does
Abraham use a rock?
what? No, not
No,
Abraham.
Moshe,
I mean,
Moshe Rabbeinu.
Tzipora.
Sipora.
now,
So technically,
Interest-
although it'd be painful, somebody could
interesting,
use a scissor.
So look now in Seif Bet. If you have
Oh.
David, look in Seif Bet. Bakol Malim.
Cool.
You can use any
Wow.
instrument,
Any tool.
אפילו בצור rock, זכוכית, glass.
Glass.
ובכל דבר הקורץ or laser is the same,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay?
Mm.
But
Then you have knives,
later,
they have knives that are ceramic.
Listen,
That's
listen.
sharper than metal.
listen to something fascinating one. ומצווה מן המובחר למול בברזל.
Why?
Why? In a minute. בין בסכין, either a knife or a scissor, ונהגו למול בסכין. So the question is, of course, is why. Listen to a fascinating.
Oh, I see it. It's some, who is the Prisha, Rabbi Prague? What is the pre? Who is?
What?
There's one of the commentaries they say is the Prisha. Who is
Oh, I was about to tell you what the Prisha says. If you look in the tool, you have access to the tool, look at tool, Siman Rei Samach Dalet, and I'll tell you what it says. Something fascinating historically. Listen good. Everyone remembers that David is choosing 5 stones to fight Goliath, yes? The Midrash is telling us that Goliath was wearing a strong helmet. And
Oh.
so to say the helmet says, why should I bend? I was born to protect. So the agreement was, if you do it, your reward would be that every brit milah will be performed with naked. Here's a helmet. Here, Larry, can you have it? I don't have it, Larry, but if you have it,
I'll read it. It's only a line in it. Umitzvah min muvchar lamul b'barzel. Shamati tam al pi midrash shekach huftach lebarzel b'yom shenifka hakova shel barzel shaya b'rosho shel Goliath lifnei David.
here it is.
But who is this Prisha person?
Prisha is one of the Gedolei Achronim that wrote commentary on two Yoreh De'ah, but the Prisha has commentary. It's called also the Sma and Choshev Mishpat. Shamati, I heard. Then they found.
I gotta talk. Let me finish this. No, I gotta talk.
This was a
I
reward,
know.
so to say, because if you think, let me explain to you what it really means. Now, the Torah says that if you build the Mizbeach or build the Beit HaMikdash,
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Right.
don't use metal.
Can't use it.
So this is why metal was not used to circumcise, because metal symbolizes death and destruction. The only reason the Barzel, so to say, was promised that we would go out of the way to do it is because what David did with Goliath was a public, so to say, Kiddush Hashem. So this is why it's so fascinating. So you understand that the language.
But what did the Kova do? But what did the Kova do? I'm still not clear.
Goliath is covered with a helmet and he's covered with metal to protect his body from head to toe. Yes. Please remember, anyway you look at it, it says in the text, David is taking a slingshot. And David was not taking a boulder, took a slingshot to shoot a stone. Remember, this is, the metal says, why should I let the stone go through? I am metal. If you do it, you'll be
Oh,
rewarded.
so in honor of let it going through, you begot the mitzvah of Barzel. Okay.
This interpretation is based on what? On the understanding that the stone penetrated through the metal. There is another opinion that when Goliath got upset, he lifted his head. When he lifted his head, the helmet.
So why would the helmet get credit for it?
Correct. No, so this
that's why
opinion
it
with
doesn't
the
get-
credit is only to this interpretation, that the stone went through it. And the other interpretation is, it's מאוד מעניין, you see, הוא מצווה מן המובחר, פלא, זה פלא, כן? No, it is fascinating because זה לא דבר רגיל.
It seems really interesting that because of Goliath, ki charbacha hanaf batachalaleha is so much a big thing, and here on a Brit Milah they use a barzel. I mean,
But now you got the point. This is what bothered everyone.
sure.
Are removing metal from being used everywhere as a statement. We believe in peace. We believe in good. And the Brit Milah, which is the covenant, which is the covenant you're doing with the metal, which means that Abraham Avinu, when he did it, and after Abraham, metal was not used. We're using it then. I mean, this is
Even
what.
the meals, they won't have the knives on the table.
Right,
The knives on the table. same concept.
But this is exactly why the Prisha says Vishamati, because otherwise, why? What is the source of?
Rabbi, going back, I hate to say it, but with Mal a second ago, with the Goy, is it the mitzvah to ilate korban pesach, not to be an Arel or to have a milah? So in other words, if the person, for whatever reason, had to not have a whatever the Goy did it.
You hear what Eli is asking? Eli is asking, a Goy performed the Brit Milah on a kid. The reality is that the kid is not Arel. The answer is he cannot eat korban pesach.
Wow.
Why? Brit Milah performed by a Goy is like he was cutting a piece of his flesh from his finger. Shem Brit Milah, the same exactly as Rosh Hashanah. If a Goy, let's take Mel's question to Rosh Hashanah. You have a guy that plays for the Philharmonic for 25 years, he's the best trumpet blower. You give him a shofar, it's like a violin. You hear it. The answer is, this voice is not a voice of
However, if a person is born mahul, if he's born with the
Yeah.
milah,
okay,
isn't that the same as the goy doing it, maybe?
okay. But if the baby was, if you have olah, the way to remove it, yes, is by doing halachic brit milah. But you understand, Eli, it's exactly as a shofar. What is the difference if a minor does it? A kid is 11. He's blowing shofar better than the Baal Tokea. The answer is, makes a difference.
But what can I learn from the IRL,
Because-
Rabbi?
because-
I let the goy do everything except for the last part. I draw a little bit of blood, and therefore I'm Yatzeh. I draw a little blood. I'm in the process of dot, but I'm not at the point that I know how to do a milah. The
If you
surgeon
go-
does it.
Okay, go back.
I'm sorry I keep reiterating, but I'm having a hard time.
So,
doing
sorry,
it.
Rabbi. I just want to answer what I think. The reason I'm saying is that even though he didn't have a proper milah, he's not considered arel. Am I correct in saying that?
He has no foreskin, but he's considered, he's not
But
considered
Eli-
him anymore.
What Eli is saying is, look at the Shulchan. Go back, Eli. If you have access, go back to
All right, he was born mahul, he's saying?
264 Aleph. 264 Aleph. Shulchan Aruch says, ואם מר, if the goy is circumcised, אין צריך לחזור ולמול פעם שנית. Okay? Which means, according to Maran, you don't have to make the incision to draw the blood. Comes the Rama Eli and says, ויש אומרים, זה חייבים לחזור ולהטיף ממנו דם ברית. מחלוקת שולחן ערוך על רמה. So Eli wants to say that according to Maran, since the father of the baby is not obligated to make a tiny incision to draw blood, shows that b'diavad at least is not arel. This is what your
Yes, exactly.
So can't eat the Korban Pesach.
No, he's asking. Eli is asking. He says if a goy perform,
He's not,
right? It's asur. It's not good. But the fact that
person
it
is
was
not arel.
done, you cannot label the baby as arel.
But still, he's not eligible to do things that he had it done properly.
So you do the same thing as a mahul baby?
Right? No, he said that as far as truma, Eli says.
I understand, but to fix it, do you do the same thing as you do for mahul baby?
Yeah. If you do it, so Beli Neder, Eli, you just have to look at Rambam Hilchot Trumot, or look at the Rambam Hilchot Korban Pesach. Eli wants to say, you might be right. You say what I said before that I'm certain now, I'm not certain. According to Maran, maybe you're right. If it was done, even though it was not a Brit Milah and the mitzvah of Brit Milah is not there, but Arel is not. I think, Eli, this is many years before, that this is the way they learn the Machloket Shulchan Aruch and Rama.
Oh,
The Rama, that you have to do incision, means what the goy did doesn't count. According to Maran, that says that b'diavad ein tzarich lachzor u'la'atif melo dam brit. So of course the mitzvah of milah was not performed. Nevertheless, the fact that you don't have to do the incision, right?
yeah, Maran doesn't hold that way. So what does he want? The guy's out for life then?
Okay. So
He'd be out of eating Korban Pesach for life.
So look a second. The Taz says, why don't you? Delo matzinu b'Torah milah lishma. See, if a goy writes a sefer Torah, lo tov, because you didn't lishma. He says, if the goy did it, it's done. It seems that he understood like you. Beli neder, I'm coming. This is it. It's a good
Right,
question.
Mal's case.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Surgeon did.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Mal.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you,
Rabbi,
gentlemen. I'll see you tomorrow. Back in New York.
Don't rush back, Mal.
Mal,
Wow.
take your time.
Have a nice day.
Rabbi, I'll call you later.
Bye. Have a great day. Yes,
Thank
I didn't take anything from there. It was it.
Downstairs,
So
Rabbi?
you took an award, I took downstairs, the rest was it.
Rabbi, his son be able to do Milan, his father?
Theoretically,